Very good morning to you. It is the 20th day of January 2026. Just 8 days remaining until we call January a wrap. It has been a very long month. Lakini Fred has a different opinion, I'm sure.
Yes, it's running very fast. Sijaona January fupi kama hii.
Iko tortoise. Inaenda pole pole. Director anasema 345 days to Christmas. It's too early, director. It's too early. Lakini tungeanza countdown ya Valentine's, manake ile nyimbo ya Valentine is coming. Part 6 is already out. Where is your boyfriend?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But there's something even bigger to look forward to. And that one you don't even have to wait till Valentine's Day. Here at TV47, something big, I'm telling you. Shaskia Friday nights. Friday nights.
Yes.
Inaitwa Friday Fight Nights.
Yes.
Yeah, Friday Fight Nights for lovers of boxing. Now, TV47 and Kalakoda Promotions have partnered in a 1 billion shilling multi-year deal with a renowned international broadcaster, Ade Oladipo, who's now on board to deliver Friday Fight Nights across 2026 and monthly events from 2027. Now, that will start in February 27th this year.
All right, we are telling you to catch the next fight Friday right here.
Yes, Friday Fight Night. Something you need
Friday
to get you. Friday Fight Nights, yeah.
Some tongue twister there.
Friday Fight Nights.
27th February at Mass House, Nairobi.
Yes. So yes, now TV47 is a home of consistent world-class boxing content. Something to look forward to.
Absolutely. It's also International Day of Acceptance. This is, of course, calling you to accept every challenges of every day-to-day life. Yes.
All right.
My name is Ann Odida.
My name is Freddie Ndimuli. Karibu sana to Morning Cafe. Let's take a look at the dailies this morning. They are varied as they come.
Kabisa.
Karata mpya ya Gachagua kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Taifa Leo.
The Star, Ruto three-pronged strategy to bag Luhya votes.
You know, the debate has been about Mount Kenya. Sasa amesongea Luhya. Standard has stayed with this story. GOtv, ESCC and NYS. They started it yesterday, now wanaendelea.
All right. Business Daily, Kenyan investors allotted 60% of KPC shares on sale.
People Daily, who stands to gain, lose out from ODM implosion as 2027 nears.
And Daily Nation, executive impunity. Na wako hapo mbele wote.
Tutakwambia zaidi ni watu gani hawa wako na impunity.
All right.
For State of the Nation today, we'll be having 3 MPs in studio. That's James Gakuya of Embakasi North, Titus Lote of Kachiliba, and Gigi Kagombe of Gatundu South, alongside Rachel Omolo, who's a public policy and governance expert. Do stand by for that. As we take a look at the dailies, of course, the battle for the mountain, what is happening in ODM, and Ruto na ile mambo yake ya NYOTA ameambia critics nyinyi kaeni kando, hamuna agenda, hamuna sera, hamuna akili. These are the big discussions this morning.
All right, later tunaenda corridors of justice, consent and privacy in the digital age, that is recording, sharing and online harassment.
Yes.
Yeah, so if I screenshot our conversation and send it to somebody else, yeah.
Na ingine ati hata ukirecord mtu video, because I've seen that debate online. Yes, someone noticed they were being recorded. They did not object to it. But then later, once it was posted, now it's a big story online.
Yes.
Kwa nini ulipost?
Anataka compensation.
Anataka compensation. We. Na Musiri ameingilia story.
Anapenda hizo story wewe. Tuvuke boda. We start off in Tanzania. Gazeti la Mwananchi, Butiku aliamsha awaita wazee. Hoja ya kuliponya taifa la Tanzania kujadiliwa. Asisitiza tume ya Jaji Chande kuaminiwa, agusia walichojadili na Balozi Polepole, katibu mpya, matukio ya utekaji. Huyu ni mstakabali wa nchi ya Tanzania na huu ni nani?
Ndio huyo Butiku. Nafikiri ni mzee mmoja tu kule anaaminiwa sana. Lakini I think this is the biggest issue. Unajua, you simply cannot sweep matters like this under the rug. So yes, they have that commission of reconciliation and justice, but now as wanasema, yes, probably that's what we should focus on after the elections, or what happened late October last year.
That's the main story there. Hatima ya ACT kuingia SUK mikononi mwa kamati. Anasema kwamba wakati chama cha ACT Wazalendo kikitathmini kuona iwapo malengo ya kuundwa kwa serikali ya umoja wa kitaifa, hiyo ni SUK, yanatimizwa kwa mfumo uliopo na kama yatimizwi, kimesema jukumu la kuifanya tathmini hiyo limeachwa.
This is the equivalent of broad based. Wanaambiwa kujeni hapa. Either way, hata mkikubali mkatae, Chama cha Mapinduzi iko na the majority.
Yes.
But as part of this sealing process, they are inviting other parties wakuje waunde broad-based government. Ndio naita hiyo serikali ya nini? Serikali ya umoja wa kitaifa.
Sasa na Chadema?
Hata wote wameinvitiwa, lakini sasa each party, kila chama inaamua kivyake kama itakuwa part ya hiyo SUK.
Okay. Vidokezo zaidi ya adhabu ya viboko yatua kortini. Wow. Kuchapwa. Uko
wanatandikwa viboko bado shuleni.
You should bring that here in Kenya. Natandikwa vizuri. Historia kiini viwanja vya michezo kutojali wenye ulemavu. Habari hii tulizungumzia hapo jana. Na kule juu serikali na wadau mguu sawa ujenzi viwanda vya dawa. Habari hiyo katika ukurasa wa 3.
Tukisalia kule Bongo, The Citizen revealed a new strategy to boost farmer production. I think it's the same story there on the top strip of the Mwananchi. The government and private investors have agreed to deepen cooperation to fast-track local pharmaceutical production in Tanzania, as Tanzania pushes to cut its heavy import bill and position itself as a regional hub for the manufacture of medicines. This could be a key issue there. Launch of oil exports among Museveni's 7th term priorities. They give prominence to what is happening in Uganda. That story is on page 4. Now this story, Butiku's take on key issues. Mwalimu Nyerere Foundation chairperson Joseph Butiku, ni mzee wa kuheshimika, yesterday spoke out on a number of key national issues, including urging political stakeholders and Tanzanians in general to accept the presidential commission that has been appointed to investigate the unrest that erupted on October 29th last year around the election time. Government plans to raise financial literacy to 80% by 2030. If they could do that in Kenya, this will be a very welcome thing. Wanasema millennials, perhaps some of the least literate when it comes to finances.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Ni ukweli, sisi hatujui kutumia pesa.
Are we the impulse buyers here?
Sisi tunapata pesa inapotea. You're just a conduit for money and you wonder, in maisha, was it meant to be like this? Yeah. Your story of stadiums and now it's not serving the disabled persons is still there on the front page. That's a Citizen. Now, tuko na magazeti ya, nimeona nyingine ya Tanzania, Jamhuri.
Trump aivuruga NATO, Ufaransa, Ujerumani, Uswisi, Norway, Finland, Uholanzi, Uingereza zapeleka majeshi Greenland. Jumuiya ya Ulaya yagawanyika, wanasema Poland na wenzake wagwaya kumpinga wajiegemeza Ukraine. Amgeuka kiongozi wa upinzani aliyemfadhili Venezuela asema hakubaliki wala hawezi kusimamia vyema dili. Trump aivuruga NATO.
Trump anataka kupigana na kila mtu.
Tajuaje, world leader. Okay, quote and quote. Mwelekeo mpya, wadau wasema kauli ya rais yaonyesha njia. Rais Samia Suluhu huyo wasitiza pande zote kukaa meza ya mazungumzo, that conversation around broad-based government in Tanzania SUK. Mwaka 2026 tutumie kujenga tulipoharibu. Hiyo ni habari nyingine katika ukurasa wa 7. Masuala ya mchezo pale pia, Simba yang'aa mzigoni CAF. Na kule juu, vijana ni rasilimali ya Tanzania, tuwajenge wawe viongozi bora. Gazeti la Jamhuri kule Tanzania.
Okay. Hayo ndio magazeti ya Tanzania. Tuangazie magazeti ya Uganda, and we start off with the Daily Monitor, where poll was won and lost, and they continue the analysis of what transpired during the elections in Uganda. So regional power and analysis of provisional presidential election results released by the Electoral Commission on Saturday reveals that voter turnout was high in President Museveni's strongholds, while Robert Chagulani's bases registered low participation. So they're talking about places like Rwenzori, Kigezi, Ankole, and they've mapped out the entire structure of how people showed up where to vote. Was it a case of voter suppression or something different? Museveni's re-election challenged in Supreme Court. Wow, already wameshaenda kotini kuchallenge hiyo. But messages of congratulations continued being registered across board. That's the Daily Monitor. We do have the New Vision as well.
Right.
Talking about the same thing. NRM defeats NUP in Buganda. That's one of the regions, I think, where NRM was big. NUP probably walilegea pale. This paper also has a list of MP winners and first runners-up. Museveni is planned for next term, plus congratulations for President Yoweri Museveni. The elections in Uganda continue making it to the headlines across board. I think we've seen it on a front page in Tanzania as well.
Right. Na kama kawaida, the new vision is yellow. Inaendelea.
Bado inaendelea. Elections ishaisha.
Right. Tuangalie hali ya anga tuone kunakaa vipi. Today it's supposed to get a little bit hotter.
Yesterday it was actually very hot in Nairobi in the afternoon. And I'm telling you, that was 26.
Yeah.
It's going to get to 27, 28, 29. At some point it will hit 30 in Nairobi, Mutaitana.
But let's start off in Wajir. This morning it's 26 degrees, feels like 27. Clear skies with periodic clouds. Highs of 37 degrees in Wajir today, a very, very hot day. Precipitation, nothing. If
we were complaining about the heat in Nairobi yesterday at 26, that's what they're feeling in Wajir as we speak right now. Mount Kenya region in Meru, it's okay, comfortable weather, 16 degrees currently. They say it's a mostly cloudy day. A bit of precipitation later in the afternoon. Highs of 26 degrees, and this will continue for the rest of the week. At the weekend in Africa, 27 and 28. So also in Meru, expect general warming up of the temperatures.
Kitui, 19 degrees this morning. Wow, it's very hot. It feels like 24 degrees. Precipitation, 20%. It's likely to rain early morning. This will increase into kesho itakuwa 31 degrees. Next week 31 degrees. So this is Kitui. Uko jua inawaka.
Ukambani kuna proper heat. What about Homa Bay? Wewe mimi najua jua ya Homa Bay tunajuana everyone on one. It is quite hot this morning at 21 degrees. They say it's a cloudy day, but it will get as hot as 29 degrees. So generally jua iko kila mahali. Now from tomorrow 31 degrees in Homa Bay. By Saturday it hits 32. By next week, Tuesday, 33. Unafeel ni kama uko Wajir. Eh?
That is Homa Bay.
Watu wakunywe maji.
Kilifi, Kule Coast, 26 degrees this morning. Feels like 28, very hot as well. It's a partly cloudy day, highs of 31 degrees. Precipitation is 5%. This is the weather throughout this week.
It will get us, itapanda on Saturday to 32.
32, right.
Tuangazie Nairobi sasa. Currently 17 degrees. Yesterday it was quite hot. Today it's 27, highs of 27 degrees. Tomorrow 28. By Sunday 29. Mutaitana. What I can advise everyone is across the country, it's generally warming up. This is the time to take water.
Right.
Hydrate and vae kofia.
Tuambie kwenu ni wapi?
Na ile kitu ulisema watu wanafaa kupaka nini?
That is sunscreen.
Sunscreen.
You must.
Sunscreen, hiyo unapaka pia.
12 minutes for 6 a.m.
All right, traffic situation in Nairobi, back to normal. This is normal traffic kila mahali. Hata ukiangalia Kangundo Road, zile dots pale Kayole, pale karibu Mama Lucy Hospital, pale karibu ufike Outer Ring Road. Hiyo tu ni kawaida on both sides of the road. Outer Ring Road areas pale tu, further Tasia. After that, green on both sides of the road. Unaona hapa sasa? Imeanza kuwa red. It's been yellow for most part of this week or even last week. Stretch of yellow ni kama watu wako wanaenda sana, but you can see now dots of red around Makadara and around Shauri Moyo. This also moves to Landis Road. Landis Road ni ile iko pale opposite Machakos bus station. Mudhurwa ukiingia town. Kuna dots za red pale na ukiingia pia Haile Selassie Avenue. Ile barabara nyingine pale yenye ukifika pale Nyayo Stadium, unaona bado iko imefunga. All the way from Daraka roundabout to Bunyala Road roundabout hapo imefunga yote. Usitumie hiyo, enda Mombasa Road. Huku ingine Mombasa Road is looking good. Wayakiwe also traffic sio mbaya. Hata Thika Road ni pale Tupangani interchange kama kawaida. So I think we're back to normal traffic. Januari imeshika proper.
All right, let's have the quote of the day. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. All right, now we take a look at the local dailies in depth, and we start off with the Standard. They've maintained this story, the NYS scandal. GOtv, ESCC, and NYS, they call it Scandal Reloaded. A fresh 6.2 billion shillings NYS payout has reopened one of Kenya's most enduring corruption riddles. and placed the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission in the dock. Court filings seen by The Standard, this newspaper, show the EACC once helped clear most of the very claims it now calls fictitious before rushing to court to stop payment. At the center is Benson, that is quote-unquote Ben Gethi Wangui, a convicted forger, acquitted NYS suspect and self-declared billionaire, long named in parliamentary probes as the operational brain behind the looting of public funds. As the state wavers, billions hang in the balance and accountability once again slips away. Now, the total disputed NYS supplier claims with 5.374 billion shillings, that is about 5.4 billion shillings.
You know, they've actually, unakumbuka ile breakdown ya how much you need to spend daily for you to get to 1 billion shillings. It's about 20,000 shillings for 37 years.
Again, Ben.
So you can imagine Now this story, they call it NYS 3. I know of a journalist who was caught up in the NYS, I think 1 or 2, who up till now has to live outside this country.
Why?
That's how serious it is. I don't know why, but after that, no, alishikwa akaenda probe kila kitu nini. I don't know what happened, but kuanzia wakati huo mpaka sasa, hiyo kuja Kenya tu kutembea kidogo anarudi huko, kidogo anarudi nje.
Wow.
Because it's not easy. You may be part of such things as ikusaidi sometimes, but anyway, NYS 3, it refuses to go away.
ODPP alisema no evidence.
Kuna evidence. Na EACC sasa, it is said that EACC has been cancelling some of this. So they investigate, they take people to court, then they withdraw the case altogether. Sema kuna evidence.
All right, tukiangalia ndani this newspaper, shame of Sirisia school with no head teacher and dilapidated facilities.
Unajua after ile stories za Kiharu nini.
Yes.
So some people went to places like some areas of Nyanza.
Yes.
And they take a few photos here. Now ameingia Western. Shule hata haina mwalimu, haina head teacher.
Can you imagine?
Na kuna CDF.
MP wa Sirisia ni nani? I'm sure.
Anaitwa John Waluke.
Kabisa.
One and only.
Financial struggle blocks thousands of top learners from grade 10 admission. Deadline of admission was extended. It ends tomorrow. Or
I don't know. I think it's open now because they need to allow, because their target is 100% transition. They said about 70% have so far reported. There's still quite a number of learners who are yet to report to schools.
It ends tomorrow. It says with only a day to the grade 10 admissions deadline on Wednesday. Yeah, now thousands of learners from vulnerable households remain stranded at home and their dreams hanging in the balance. You know, I was listening to a certain story. Only 4 students have reported to school. They were to get about 45 in a certain class, lakini only 4. Wow.
Wengine ni pesa wamekosa.
Pesa, and then watu wanatoka mbali from coast.
Wow.
Na shule iko mbali. That story on the NYS scandal is on page 4. State suffers setback in housing levy case as court rejects affidavit. There's a story about Raila Odinga here. Ideals, not patronage. What Raila would say to ODM if he rose today. On the back page, AFCON, Africa Cup of Nations, concluded on Sunday. Match winner Pape Gueye says Senegal was fooled by injustice. Yes.
Lakini Gianni Infantino amecondemn players walking off. That's a FIFA president. Anasema hiyo tabia kama hizo hazikubaliki. And the coach has so far been suspended by CAF, Confederation of African Football. So yes, matters AFCON will continue after especially that dramatic final. So we'll see a lot of punishment, fines being meted on some of those players and teams. Wengine wanasema ati hata Senegal wanaweza nyang'anywa kikombe, lakini sidhani. You're pushing it.
They deserved it.
From the Standard, we go to the Daily Nation. They talk about executive impunity. President has alleged judicial overreach and frowned upon orders he perceives to be derailing the policies. Now, President Ruto promised his administration would comply with court orders, vowing a break from his predecessor's rule. But his government now stands accused of violating judicial decrees, with petitions targeting defiant ministers. Now, the president has previously waged a war against the judiciary while state officials continue to disregard court orders. Yani ni makaratasi tu. Some of these officials here, let's name them, according to the Daily Nation, ndio sababu pengine picha ni ndogo kidogo. One of them is a deputy president, Kithure Kindiki. Environment CS, Deborah Barasa. Treasury CS, and he's very loud nowadays, John Badi. Interior PS, Raymond Omolo. Defense PS, Patrick Mariru. Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja. DIG of Police, Gilbert Masengeli. Yule nakumbuka hata alikuwa nakataa tu kwenda kotini. Anaambiwa amekuwa summoned hata ongei. Sio basi umkuje mni arrest. NEMA Director General Mamo Boru, KRA Customs Commissioner Lilian Nyawanda, and KRA Commissioner General Humphrey Watanga. These are just some of the high-ranking government officers who are accused of disregarding decrees by the courts, na hiyo sio makaratasi tu. Hapa chini, a return of SHA to the front pages. SHA medical cover bias hits patients. Chani wasome, na kuna picha kubwa sana hapo ya CEO Masi Mwangangi. So, same diagnosis, different pay. Interference by powerful figures in social health authority allocation packages has led to preferential treatment for certain Kenyans, creating a growing discrepancy in healthcare access. This paper has established that many patients, particularly those without connections to influential figures, find themselves disadvantaged, receiving lower package approvals compared to those who make a phone call and secure high authorization. This one, I don't even think it was happening with NHIF. Ati unapigia mtu alafu unapata pesa mingi. That's the most unfortunate thing. It's on page 2 of this paper. A bit of politics here. Gachagua party pursues coalition pact with Uhuru. Jana walikuwa retreat kule Mombasa na walikuwa wamevaa kaptula wote. Alafu nikaona watu wamepiga picha, wakakrop miguu za Gachagua, wakaziweka kwa mtandao.
Sunday.
Sasa zinazunguka.
Was it on Sunday?
Sasa miguu ya Gachagua iko kila mahali mtandaoni. So that's those are the main stories on the front page. Huku ndani matters SHA, of course matters education, people trying to raise funds to go to school. That story about executive impunity and disregard of court orders, Gachagua and what he's doing with his party now that there's a lot of scramble for the Mount Kenya region. We'll be talking about that. On the back page, of course, AFCON, an unforgettable AFCON final. This one is one for the books, definitely. What happened there, I think they'll have to make a movie for that. Very nice story there. Not so nice, because people will be punished for that, but very nice story nonetheless. That's the Daily Nation. All right.
People Daily, who stands to gain and lose out from ODM implosion as 2027 years. And the People Daily has covered this story, has given 4 pages to this story, page 7, 8, 10, and of course the front page. Orange turmoil. Is it Winnie Odinga, Edwin Sifuna, Babu Owino, or Oburu's block, Oburu Odinga, Janet Mohammed, and Abdul Samad Sharif Nasser?
Actually, I think this is not the people who are going to either win or lose. This one's, I think both sides will lose.
Really?
Winnie's wing and Oburu's block will win. But okay, with this implosion, who stands to gain or who stands to lose?
Yeah.
President William Ruto is one of them. Yeah, and others, including parties in Western Kenya. A party like DAP stands to gain a lot from this. But anyway, we're going to see. This is the orange turmoil, they call it.
Stakeholders, the pockholes in state Safaricom sale plan is another story on page 4. Hii imekata kwenda kabisa. IEBC at a crossroads, trust technology and the 2027 election test is another story on page 4, and that's the People Daily.
All right, from the People Daily we go to Taifa Leo, maswala ya DCP, karata mpya Gachagua. Na miongoni mwa mipango ambayo Rigathi anapanga kutumia kumlemea Ruto katika uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka ujao ni kuimarisha ushirikiano wake na Uhuru, Ndindi Nyoro na vigogo wengine ili kumfungia nje rais katika eneo la Mlima Kenya. Pia amekanusha uvumi kuwa naibu wake Malala amemtoroka. Malala yuko pale amepigwa picha na Rigathi Gachagua. Kiongozi wa DCP afichua mikakati 8 anayesema ataitumia kumng'oa Rais Ruto mamlakani mwaka ujao. Ndio habari kuu pale kwenye ukurasa wa mbele. Tutaizungumzia sababu ya masuala ya Mlima Kenya. Kwingineko, habari ile ya Uganda yarejeshea huduma za interneti, tulizungumzia hayo jana. Mawaziri waahidi Ruto ushindi Mbeere Kaskazini. We're back to Mbeere North. Nafikiri zile by elections za chaguzi ndogo za
November 27.
Wards. Najua nao kuna wale walioenda huko wakaacha positions zao za MCA. So those positions have to be filled. So some small by elections coming up in February. Mwanafunzi aliyeitwa Alliance aokota chupa katika juhudi za kupata karo. Habari pale juu, Senegal majogoo wa Afrika japo baada ya tukio la kustaajabishia. Wachezaji waliondoka ugani, mechi ikiendelea, Morocco ilipopewa penalti tata. Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
All right, The Star, Ruto three-pronged strategy to bag Luya vote. Campaign teams include cabinet secretaries, governors, MPs, and of course MCAs. He's targeting Trans Nzoia, Bungoma, and Kakamega. And voters wako wengi sana hapa Kakamega, 844,551. Also Busia and Vihiga. The president's rider, according to this newspaper.
Total votes 4.9 million. If you can actually get this block, like Samanga elusive Luya unity, they don't vote in one block.
Splintered but numerically formidable block was long a Raila stronghold. New homes, new strategy, how regional parties are recasting 2027 election race. That story is on page 7. When the body changes quietly, women breaking the silence on menopause. An interesting story as well on page 11. Kule juu illicit brews, Murang'a silent crisis, illegal alcohol, lost lives, and a county in pain. That's The Star, fresh, independent, and different. Being a Tuesday, The Star is not for sale.
And it comes with a complimentary MyGov pull-out for government jobs and tenders. So grab yourself a copy of The Star.
All right, finally.
Finally, in MyGov, sasa ndio hii iko ndani ya The Star. County scrap fees for NYOTA youth entrepreneurs. Hii ukipata Star unapata hii for free.
All right.
Matters Business Daily, Kenyan investors allotted 60% of Kenya Pipeline Company shares on sale. Remember, this privatization has been a big debate. So tayari walipewa go ahead, sasa wameweka 60% of KPC on sale. That means anyone can buy them. Yeah? Hata kama ni mtu mmoja, anaweza kuja tu na anunue hiyo 60% kama ana hiyo uwezo kidogo. Unapata Kenya Pipeline Company belong to mtu mmoja. It's possible. Yes. So they say IPO's sale period set to run until February 19th. Transaction expected to yield 106.3 billion shillings if fully subscribed. Yeah. Hey, it's about 11.81 billion Kenya Pipeline Company shares. The other story, Portland gets a 1.94 billion loan repayment reprieve. It's a story on the front page and continues on page 2. On the ticker, KRA misses half-year tax collection target by 152 billion shillings. The Kenya Revenue Authority missed its tax collection target for the first half of the current financial year by that amount, 152.2 billion shillings, underscoring mounting pressure on public finances. What will happen? Tutatoa pio pesa. Meanwhile, NSE Bank investors add 56 billion shilling gains. Those are the stories given prominence on the front page of the Business Daily.
Tuangalie caricature before, of course, we take a look at what's coming up next, State of the Nation.
Naanza na People Daily.
AFCON finals, Morocco versus Senegal. Of course, Morocco 0, host nation. The Senegal 1.
Lakini mbona hapo jamaa amekanyaga Egypt? Inafaa alikuwa akanyaga Morocco.
Ati when the lion roars, you humble yourself. Egypt wana catch two strays.
Ama sasa Senegal imerise because Egypt, I think, was highest ranking football nation.
Okay.
Same story on the cartoon on the Standard. Jamaa wa green ni Senegal amesimama na kikombe cha AFCON 2025. Alafu kuna jamaa ameanguka huko, nafikiri sasa ni Morocco. Anaambiwa, sorry buddy, you had the hosting rights and I get the boasting rights. Definitely congratulations to Senegal. They do have the boasting rights.
All right. This is
Daily
Nation. ODM again. Copy-pasting Baba. Anauliza pale, that is Winnie Odinga. She said you cannot copy-paste Baba. Na anauliza Uncle.
Usijaribu ku-copy-paste Baba. Haiwezi.
All right.
The Star. This one has a caricature of the Embakasi East MP, Babu Owino. But he's trying to be everything and dip his hands and legs in everything, in all ports. Wana anataka kuwa president, mara ni governor wa Nairobi, mara Luo kingpin, mara bado ni MP wa Embakasi East. What exactly does Babu Owino want?
Mara party leader ODM.
Watu wanamwangalia huko, wengine wanamcheka, wanasema bara. Kijana, can you focus?
Ona venye Nairobi governor. Anamwangalia. This is the Star.
Yes.
And the State of the Nation?
Yeah, State of the Nation will be having 3 MPs, James Gakuya, of Embakasi North, Titus Lote, MP Kachiliba, Gigi Kagombe, MP Gatundu South, and Rachel Omolo, who's a public policy and governance expert, as we take a look at the dailies, and we'll be discussing matters to do with the scramble for Mount Kenya now that the president went there to Nyeri twice in a number of days, like about 7 days in 1 week. He was there twice. Alafu pia ODM implosion, a big debate, plus the president appears to have kicked off his campaigns. We'll be looking at that as well.
A packed show for you. Corridors of Justice will be going there after that with Silas Akiro to talk about consent and privacy in the digital age. But we can already see you online. Robin Mureti anasema good morning, watching live from Meru. Deda Mkungi, good morning to you too.
Advisor Pastor Emmanuel Barasa Manu asema Wasitila Bungoma sai niko Kitengela niko locked hadi tamati. Amos Onderio Gembo Kegogi Kisi watching. Ule jamaa wa nyama bado hajamka.
Nilijua atakuja, so hata nilikuwa nataka nimwambie afanye juu chini, alete hata kama ni kilo moja tomorrow. Tukule nyama. As we do the show, as we do the newspaper review, tunachukua bites za nyama. Au sio, if you're watching, panga weka mikakati tukule nyama. Interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, on X at TV47 Digital. My handle is at @Ann_Odida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47.
My handle on X is at Fred Indebuli. See you after the break.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Oma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments. Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV47.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Farika tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Farika is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Anyway, furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CP unit ni Punet.
So you guys knew about
Piga.
Sawa basi. Nasema that gave you the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
Next time you need fresh lemon juice, microwave a lemon for 7 to 10 seconds. Then roll the lemon back and forth under your palm on the counter. When you squeeze, you'll get more juice from the lemon with way less effort.
Start your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite with Tasty Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where Anne serves up delicious recipes, cooking tips, and the latest food trends to inspire your next meal. Relationship Wednesday and Tasty Wednesday every Wednesday 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Morning Cafe.
Internal discord within ODM, often framed as a family wrangle, has become more visible as the party positions itself for the 2027 general election cycle. Following the death of former long-time leader Raila Odinga in October 2025, leadership transitioned to his elder brother Odinga-Oginga. But that shift has not ended the debate, it has only sharpened it. Some senior leaders, including Secretary General Edwin Sifuna and Embakasi East MP Babu Owino, have been perceived as representing a more assertive camp keen on shaping the party's direction. With new leadership voices, critics of this group believe their influence challenges the traditional custodianship of the party's legacy.
I think ODM should be allowed to die a natural death, just like all other political parties before it. If you look at KANU, the moment Moi left power, KANU started diminishing and eventually got totally out of national landscape.
At rallies in recent weeks, Winnie Odinga, a daughter of the late Raila Odinga, has been front and the center, reaffirming that ODM leadership should be inclusive and that no one should be expelled from the party. In a party address in Kibra, she warned against sidelining senior figures, saying nobody will be removed from ODM, and insisting the party belongs to the people and not factions.
Hakuna mtu atatolewa kwenye hii chama. Hakuna siku baba aliwahi let anybody atoke kwenye hii chama. Wanaongea sana na tukiuliza maswali wanasema tutoke kwenye chama.
Hata pengine yeye mwenyewe president aseme kwa mimi nimeamua nitasimama kwa chama cha ODM. You never know, si alitoka hapo pia yeye ama namna gani? Sasa watu wanaanza kuassume ya kwa tumekubaliana jambo fulani na hata hatujakaa juu ya meza.
Winnie held a meeting in Kibra days after Oburu and his faction toured the area. His brother Raila Odinga Jr. echoed calls for internal dialogue and respect for party structures, urging that differences be resolved through consultation rather than public jostling. Yet some voices within and outside ODM have suggested that these disagreements reflect deeper divisions over leadership influence and the party's future, with critics warning that friction between the Odinga family's younger generation and the Oginga leadership could weaken the party's cohesion.
For Winnie Odinga, she wants to take over the legacy of her father so that she continues being in the political space. But if you look at the issues she was raising even at Mukunji yesterday, those are issues that can only be implemented by the government, and it means someone who can engage the government. So there's no way she'll have capacity to do any of those things.
Party leader Odinga-Oginga has sought to diffuse tensions, stating that ODM will not push anyone out and that internal debates are normal within a large political movement.
Baba aliwachukua na akawaweka pamoja na akawaweka kwa broad-based government. Akijua ya kwamba 2027 ikifika, kila mmoja atachukua mwelekeo kulingana na chama chake.
Sote ni ndugu, watu wataitana, tukae pamoja. Na muhimu zaidi, ikifika mwaka 2027, hata na mimi pia si vibaya kama ninyi kama wana Mombasa museme kwa gavana wetu hayuko katika chama cha upinzani, yuko katika serikali, ama namna gani?
Analyst says the optics of these disagreements, especially when they involve high-profile family members, resonate beyond internal party politics, fueling narratives about whether ODM can hold together as one united force heading into one of Kenya's most crucial election cycles.
And culturally, I also look at the fact that the fly whisk and the heart of Raila Odinga was buried with him. That was so symbolic that ODM was actually buried with the Honorable Raila Odinga.
Mike Kagwango, TV 47, Nairobi.
Yes, indeed. The fact that what was the most formidable opposition outfit for decades in Kenya is now in crisis remains a big discussion point across all media outlets. All the dailies yesterday had this on their front pages. Today they pause on it slightly, but still the stories continue in the inside pages. But one paper continued with this story, and that's the People Daily. On the front page, they talk about, they ask a question, they pose a question rather, who stands to gain or lose out of ODM implosion as 2027 nears? The different groupings within this party have been put there on the front page. Win is wing and Oburu's block. But who exactly stands to either win or lose with this implosion as 2027 years? This morning we're privileged to have with us James Gachagua, MP Embakasi North. Fresh from that retreat of the DCP party in Mombasa. You'll be telling us more about that later. Karibu sana, it's good to have you in studio.
Thank you.
Rachel Omolo, public policy and governance expert, is here with us again. Karibu sana, it's always a pleasure to have you in studio. Karibu.
Thank you, Fred.
And for the first time this year, on this panel at least, Titus Lote MP Kachiliba, so Happy New Year, Bwana Lote.
Happy New Year.
Karibu sana. Let's start on that ODM note. And the question is, it's now obvious there are splits. We saw what happened in Kakamega, the party leader forced to attend 2 different meetings of delegates, rival teams in Butere and another one in Kakamega town. Then we see what's happening in Nairobi. Days after the party leader goes for a meeting in Kibra, Raila Odinga's daughter goes there, and it's clear there are divisions. Now the question is, fine, ODM may split or ODM may survive, but with an imminent split, who stands to gain mostly politically? There are others who argue that yes, as a party looks to form a coalition with the current ruling party UDA, that UDA could actually benefit a lot from a weaker ODM. Do you agree with that, Bwana Gachagua?
Thank you, everybody. Allow me to salute you as well while they're watching this morning show. My view to this particular aspect of ODM division or ODM split. One, let me say this: it is not yet over. At some point, maybe they can salvage the split and they can build unity and still make UDM back to one portion. This can happen because people who are genuine enough and look for a particular cause, there is always sacrifice. And I think it is not fair when the house or the Odingaism home is in fight over this particular aspect of ODM split. I totally agree with the daughter, with the Winnie, the daughter, the elder daughter, that nobody is supposed to be victimized or evicted or thrown out of the party. For people who are serious enough, they should understand where and why this party has been so strong and so united. This was because Raila was using his wisdom to make sure that even when there is decent issues within the party, he was capable of still defending and bringing the team together. It looks here that the coming in and the succession of this party leadership through what we call Oburu. Oburu is the one to change the tax because he is old enough and he's experienced enough to make this party move as one. But the determination stands with him and his portion because they look to have already taken a decision and they are convinced that they should make a marriage and a complete marriage with UDA. An idea that is not borrowed by everybody within the party. One, let us assume that the fraternity of the young turks within the party are totally indecent in this particular election. And also, the Odinga family, the Raila Odinga family, when Winnie starts to speak with his brother, it tells you even the mother is on that particular position of bringing the party back to one. And if that faction led by Oburu and Wanga, if they're still convinced that they should take the party to to the marriage with UDA without involving the whole fraternity, then there is no choice. The party will split into two.
Right.
And after this particular moment, the one to gain is not William Ruto. I can assure you, Idimuli, at this point in time, Nairobi will be swept by these young turks of ODM. There's nothing Oburu can be able to secure for William Ruto in the city. And even in, in what we call Nyazaland, I am expecting that this Winnie and the team, this young team, they will be able to mechanize youths within Nyaza region. And at the tail end, the youth will stand. I want to refer to the meeting held by Oburu in Kibra, Kamkunji, vis-a-vis the one held by Winnie. There's no comparison. And there it tells you who has the guts to bring people together or to bring the ODM together. And still, that blood of Laila still have a say.
And still, as you continue to assess who stands to benefit, it's interesting that you bring about Nairobi politics. Now that you say in Nairobi alone things will change, does it, for example, because you are an aspirant in Nairobi, what does it mean for you? Not.
In fact, let me tell you, Nairobi is a game of numbers. And taking to concern, ODM has been always securing the majority because of Wiper. And minus Wiper in ODM, whether the bloc will still remain united, it cannot beat the other side. But there is a possibility of the ODM young turks to join terms with Kalonzo Musyoka at some moment. And if that comes to be deal, then there will be an easy way of zoning the city. Yes.
For your own prospects, do you stand to benefit?
I cannot be displeased in the manner the situation is.
Would it favor you if a split?
It will. It will.
All right. Yeah. Rachel, there's been talk about a possibility of an NDC, a National Delegates Conference. That is what Winnie is demanding for. And that is probably, he mentioned that for a major decision like joining with UDA, that should involve the larger membership of the party. But the Central Committee, Management Committee of the party is not interested in going that direction. Do you think that that would be the solution? And who would then gain or lose from an NDC?
Thanks, Fred, and to all of viewers, good morning one more time. Allow me first to respond to my friend Gachagua here. He started by saying that if Winnie's faction was to go the way they are, then he feels they are strong enough that they would sweep the city. And at the same time, he says he stands to benefit with the division. So I think he's being a little bit dishonest that if they're strong enough that Babu can defeat him, then that's another story altogether. But that is neither here nor there, really, for me as at now. Having had BAMBA for the longest, leading this one of the largest political party, actually, within East Africa, and BAMBA's demise, we expected something like this to happen in any institution. It's just not isolated for ODM. But even in this particular station where we are, if the leadership were to be affected in one way or the other, then we'll see the kind of a bit of instability that we are seeing. And it's just people trying to find their positions within the party. Having said that, I think we need to take it back. Where did this whole thing begin? It began by the same Team Winnie and Babu especially, because Sifuna even endorsed the party leader, Honorable Odinga-Oginga in Mombasa. So did the party follow the due process in appointing Oburu Oginga to be the party leader? I will tell you, if you look at the constitution of ODM, chapter 7, I think it is section 7.54 and 7.55, it speaks explicitly on who has a mandate in the event that there's a vacancy in the National Executive Committee. How do you appoint a leader within that? And if you look at it keenly, then they are right to say Oburu Oginga is the party leader, substantive party leader as at now. So failing to accept that we've seen with the push with Babu Owino and the likes is actually not being honest with them, saying we are people who follow the rule of law and abide by our constitution. Because the constitution is clear. It is the NEC, it is the NEB that appoints, and then the NEC, and then after that, then it's taken to national, the NGC, the governing council, which ratified. And that is what happened in the interim. But the call for us for Oburu Oginga to vacate the party leadership space, for Babu to come in, I don't think if that is the right way to go about it. Even if you want to be a leader within a particular party, you cannot push for someone who is duly appointed to vacate for you to just assume office.
The party appears to be heading towards a space where they have to make major decisions. Appointment of senior officials, whether or not to go into a coalition with any party. And the suggestion is that this other structure, the National Delegates Conference, should come in here. It is what we are seeing probably on the fringes with what is happening at Kakamega, that the delegates, the debate around the delegates, who could actually factor in the NDC, that's where the debate is. Don't you think that an NDC would actually be the way to go forward?
It would be the way to go, but it's again very premature. Remember, this is a period where we have party hopping and party realignment, and all these things are happening around this period normally during any political season. So we are yet to see ODM talk to UDA, talk to Wiper, talk to other people of like-minded to form a coalition, which is again within their right and mandate according to Section 10. So we cannot sit and say this is the right time. Remember, they were even saying it is premature to start it, but there's nothing stopping you from starting to have talks with other political parties just to align your agenda for the nation. So I think as at now, it is not really a priority of do or die for the party to call for an NDC. Because if it is an issue of are we going to form a coalition, the truth is we shall form a coalition, because ODM as a party cannot go it alone and win the presidency.
Don't you think that is a big decision? The party that has fielded a presidential candidate for 3 decades now will not have a presidential candidate. Don't you think that the delegates should be part of that conversation, not the Central Management Committee?
No, I didn't say the Central Management Committee solely has the mandate to do that, but I'm saying it is still early for them to say we go for an NDC to pick a presidential candidate. But if what the party leader said is anything to go by, then I want also to look at it differently. That maybe the push by Babu Owino that allow me to be the party leader, he wants to be the presidential candidate. And it's just not coming out to say it clearly, because the constitution, if amended, would allow the party leader by default to be the presidential candidate. So maybe just needs a shortcut, an easier way for him to be the presidential candidate. But I still feel, even that be the case, it's still early for us to say, let us have an NDC to decide who is going to be our presidential candidate. Okay. Let us have an NDC to decide which political parties are we going into coalition with. I think even the Political Parties Act only states you need to file that 3 months with the political parties. You don't have to do it so early. But within this period, there are meetings, there are partnership agreements, and if you don't align, then we continue to see people saying, no, we are not going to go with this team, now we are moving with another political party. So I want to believe that it is premature for all these teams to start pushing for an NDC as at now, because even within the constitution, it allows for an NDC, and an NDC shall be confirmed, so it shall be called upon for us to know whether the ODM will field a candidate and who is ODM going to coalition with.
Bonalote, you come from a party, the party that sponsored you to parliament is one of those smaller, less talked about parties, KUP, that is now in a larger coalition within the Kenya Kwanza team, right?
Sure.
If we look at other political players, away from UDA and ODM, do you think there are automatic losers or automatic winners who stand to benefit or to lose anything with a direct split in ODM?
Well, first of all, good morning and Happy New Year. This is my first time to be in the show this year. And also to represent Kenya Union Party, which is a member of the Azimio coalition before we actually went into the broad-based government. For me, I think it's sad what I'm seeing in ODM, because ODM is one of the parties that we coalesced around when we were actually looking for the presidency on 2022. But then again, we took the direction of BAMBA, the late Honorable Raila Odinga, when we actually formed the broad-based government, which was actually done for the good of this country. It is very sad to see what is happening, and I think this is a lesson that should be learned by all. Looking at the factions between Oburu Odinga, who is the elder brother to Raila Odinga, and Winnie Odinga, who is the daughter, basically tells you that the party probably was controlled by family members when all of us were believing that it was a national party. So sometimes it becomes very difficult for us to now extricate ourselves from family matters when it comes to this. And I strongly believe that this is becoming a family affair, because we are seeing Oburu Odinga fighting Winnie Odinga in control of the party. And that basically pushed all of us. We are all thrown into disarray. And so there's nobody who is going to benefit. But I think it's a future, it's a way of making others learn as a lesson, so that when we are building parties, we need to build national parties that are controlled by nationalists but not families. It's very sad what I'm seeing, and I think we will not want to see this again. Raila Odinga built a party and he believed in the party, and the reason why Raila Odinga was very slow to act even on those that seems to be rebels within the party, because he knew that the party was not his, the party belonged to others. I don't think Raila will be very happy if he wakes up today and finds out that the party is being split by the family members that will have otherwise then allowed this party to be managed and run by Kenyans who believe on ODM party. ODM party is strong on the coast. ODM party is strong in the Western Kenya. ODM party is strong in Nyanza. But now what we're seeing is ODM party is controlled by family who are having their differences that is being brought to the fore. So as a member of the Azimio coalition, who have now joined the Kenya Kwanza based on the broad-based government, I will say that the smaller parties that believed on ODM will definitely fall, and when they fall, they will look for parties that are stable, and the parties that are stable now includes the UDA, which is actually now even doing their NDC by April, and so we will go there to parties that we believe now are national. And we will definitely leave this party that now we believe becomes a family affair matter.
Okay. And you've talked about Western Kenya. It is there on the front page of the Star. And here they talk about, it's an analysis of William Ruto's strategy to bag the Luhya vote. Luhya Nation and Western Kenya in general was an ODM zone. It has, the party still has the highest number of MPs in that region. Don't you think that, yes, President William Ruto stands to benefit from a weakened ODM, especially in areas like Western Kenya, that with this split and the apparent rivalries there?
That is what exactly I've said. I've said when we see a big party like ODM that has been there for actually the oldest party, that actually stood for change, stood for the people. When we see it split on family basis, family matters, family issues, then we go to parties that we believe are strong. And one of the parties I've said is William Ruto's party, UDA. And that is where we are all going. Western Kenya will definitely, because of the fragmentization of ODM, will definitely go to UDA.
Wow, interesting. Who stands to benefit with the imminent implosion? Okay, fine, the implosion that we are now witnessing within ODM party. Time for us to take a break, but before that, I have to remind you of something big happening here at TV 47. And this is something that you can anticipate, especially around February. And this is for lovers of boxing and other people who watch TV 47. So TV 47 has partnered with Kalakoda Promotion in a 1 billion shilling multi-year deal with renowned international broadcaster Ade Oladipo, who's now on board. This all is to deliver the Friday fight nights across this year 2026 and monthly events from 2027, and it starts on the 27th of February here in Nairobi. Friday fight nights, there's a boxing, and this will make TV47 the home of consistent world-class boxing content, something to look forward to for lovers of that sport. Let's now take a break. When we come back, we switch gears and talk about matters Mount Kenya politics.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Oma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. Only on TV47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach. Only on TV47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Wewe ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV47.
We have had a
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Frederick. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Frederick is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Here in Pingo. And we've done that because this is a new year, and just like any other organization, we need to have a plan for the entire year. Personally, I missed the first few activities of the party.
Go back to brokenness.
There has been wide speculation about my absence. I want to make it very clear that as the party leader I indicated to find out. Tune in every Wednesday
when we
from
started the year,
7:30
I
p.m.
developed a very bad flu, and the doctor recommended for me to have some rest. So I want to say that I'm now back. I've recuperated, and I'm now back energetic to run the party and to start the year in a very in a manner that is going to grow our party. The resolutions of this retreat, actually, first, we have agreed that the DCP party is going to have a presidential candidate come 2027. We have agreed that we are going to officially launch our party. You know, last year we just unveiled the party. We have agreed that in the next 6 months, we are going to have a very big launch of the DCP party, inviting our members across the country. And it is in that event that we are going to launch the DCP presidential candidate, who is none other than Gachagua. We have also agreed that we are going to have free and fair nominations. We've said that this party is a party that believes in democracy, is a party that believes in inclusivity, and therefore we are going to have free and fair nomination. We are a party that listens to the people, and therefore the only fair way.
Yeah, that's a DCP Deputy Party Leader, Cleophas Malala, speaking after a retreat of like-minded leaders who belong to that party in Mombasa this past weekend. We now want to delve into Mount Kenya politics, and the DCP story was one perfect entry point, because on the front page of the Daily Nation, we're seeing that the Gachagua party, that's a DCP, is now pursuing a coalition pact with Uhuru Kenyatta. One of those people who attended that retreat is none other than the Embakasi North MP, James Gakuya. Bwana Gakuya, what exactly were you doing in Mombasa? Did it have anything to do with the recent visits by President William Ruto to Mount Kenya region? Within a week, he was in Nyeri twice.
Thank you, Demboli. On the matter, the DCP retreat in Coast, this is like any other party which chooses to strategize on a working plan for a particular year, and we are in the beginning of 2026, noting that we are now not saying the election is so far, because elections are next year. And therefore, every party mechanism should be put in place to put a methodology on how to progress going forward, and how to strategize the party, to strengthen the party, and how to prepare for nominations. It is the major task within political parties as we forge to move to an election. And therefore, the meeting was merely to agree on various issues, whether the party will field a candidate or presidential candidate, which we did agree is a position that the party should consider. Number two is that other matter of launching the party, which also the team also agreed that is an item that the party should consider. And also how to deal with our nominations, noting that there was a clamor of what we call direct nominations, and many people are fearing that the party will dish out those certificates to preferred candidates. And we wanted to clear that particular fear to candidates that are willing to contest with the DCP party. So that was majorly what made us to be there. And also we wanted also to check on how we did how we performed within our last concluded by-elections. It was also a case study.
Yes.
And we need also...
But Bwana Gakuya, we're also aware that in recent weeks, quite a number of people who are allied to the DCP party have jumped ship and gone back to UDA. Now they support William Ruto. Now the president appears even much more emboldened after his win in Mbeere North. He has been in Nyeri twice within 1 week, speaking about him coming back for the votes that he may have lost in Mount Kenya. He spoke about his former deputy president. Are you saying that this meeting was not prompted by all these happenings? Wasn't there any attempt, or was this meeting not meant to quell fires that have been lit, especially at the beginning of this year?
As much as matters to do with the president's visit to the region twice, I don't think, even though he visited 20 times, is an issue to us, because the president is head of this is head of state, and he's free to make any strange visit to a particular corner of the kind anytime he wants. He can take as many baggages as much as possible, and we don't scare. One thing I would wish president to be moving to Mount Kenya as many times as possible, because they reap from those visits. Okay. And there's nothing wrong. People given maybe the envelopes of 5,000 or 10,000. There are parents that were unable to take their children back to school. And with 10,000, you can pay a whole term of a day school. So I don't think it's anything wrong. And let me tell you, Idimoli, it is not anything to make us fear about that. Yes, there was an inroad for him in terms of his capturing of Bere seat. But Bere seat was stolen. Does not mean that actually the president got it on the right way. As we show the kind of violence which was created, and in fact intruding of a cabinet minister to storm with, on a center, and things that actually were made to make the inroads of the victory. And therefore, we cannot, because of that small weakness of losing Bele, confirm that the head of state is now in full gear and in full support in Mount Kenya.
What about the apparent exodus of quite a number of elected leaders who previously supported DCP and the party leader? George Koimburi, Juja, the latest, and is very vocal on media now. The Githunguri MP, Gathoni wa Mushomba, was very vocal on social media, criticizing a former party leader quite strongly.
In fact, Idimoli, what we must all understand is that we are moving to an election year. And it is important for any single political individual to make a determination at this stage. In fact, by the end of this year, you will find a middle crossing from UDA to the DCP. It all depends on how you feel your ground is. And I can tell you for sure, it is individual's decision. You are not moving or crossing or decamping with the people. You are decamping as an individual MP. I could say, Gathoni Mushomba has crossed with the whole Githunguri if he called for a particular Githunguri public rally and decided to quit from the DCP, then decamp and get an approval of that magnitude of Githunguri population. It never happened. It's just an individual who is decamping. The same fellow, Juja, member of parliament, he has closed alone. And in fact, let me tell you, he has not moved the Juja people. The Juja population is still there intact. And let me tell you, it is our own prerogative to decide whether to cross, to get benefits from the government, to get resources, if you are not resourced, from the government. But the determination is, does that mean Juja will be taken by Koimburi with UDA come 2027? The answer is no, and big no. And let me tell you, there is no single vacuum in a political position. As Koimburi quits to UDA, we have very strong members who has shown interest in Juja, who will take the mantle, waiting for the election 2027. So it does not mean that Koimburi is one of those people who are trying to push the party not to fill any other candidate there. And it cannot work. You cannot build what we call party democracy. And you must allow people to make the party grow and also exercise what we call internal democracies of the party. So you cannot say, because I am Gakuya here and I am elected and I have suffered a lot, that I must lock Embakasi North for any other candidate to compete with me. We must allow this democracy to thrill. And this, therefore, I don't care for any single member who have decamped because they have just camped alone.
Right. Yet it's definitely a concern for any political party to witness such an exodus or an apparent exodus, because even the deputy party leader had to come and clarify that he was taken ill and he had not decamped. That perception alone could have prompted this meeting in Mombasa to try and quell some fires. Do you agree that, yes, President William Ruto has reignited the debate about the scramble for the mountain and people are worried now?
Yeah, absolutely, Fred. In as much as my brother Gakuya would not want to accept, especially the outcome of the by-election has triggered their meeting. Whereas they popularized themselves as this is our zone, and we expected really a landslide win in Mbeere North, and that did not happen. And they need to go back and re-strategize and know where did we go wrong, because in election, and lucky we all have contested at one point or the other, and they are members of parliament, they know in politics it is the winner. It is not about who lost and how you lost. It is who won and which party. So any other thing is considered as an excuse. So whether it was stolen or your person fell ill or whatever happened, it's neither here nor there. It is that UDA won And so they try to affirm their strength within the mountain. And the meetings that His Excellency, the President, has held in the recent past, if anything to go by, we are seeing the same support still being accorded to him. And like before, after the former Deputy President impeachment, no one could really go to the mountain and sit with that kind of magnitude of 15,000 people in Nyeri in particular. So he has to accept that, yes, the president is still reaffirming, or UDA is reaffirming their support from the mountain and strengthening it at the very same time. Yes, we know we may have lost people, but we want to strengthen our support from the mountain. So if they still bury their head that, no, we still have a big support, then I think they'll be lying to themselves. They really need to go back and see, how come before, a few months ago, early last year, no one could go to the mountain? I remember there was even this particular MP who was doing a rambe for a sick person and was even chased with his money, just because he was more aligned to UDA than DCP. So yes, we are yet to see a lot of party hopping and movement from one political party to the other, depending on what is gaining ground. And even Wamashomba and the team that has just gone back to UDA, depending on how UDA would be strong in the mountain, they would remain there or still move to DCP. Right. So I think that is a wait and see. We'll see it all over the country. And yes, they have an uphill task to prove for sure, even to their coalition partners, that they have a stronger support within the mountain region.
Yes, and as far as getting grassroots structures, UDA is definitely ahead in Mount Kenya. They've already conducted their grassroots elections, and the president on one of the occasions was simply congratulating those people. This appears to have prompted DCP to actually even consider now going ahead with a much anticipated or much delayed launch of the party. We come back to political parties and the kind of activities that are running at the grassroots level. Do you agree that this time round parties really have to think about what they do on the ground?
Sure. I think for parties to thrive, they need to be organized. They really need to have grassroots support. For me, I think personally politics is run by the political machineries, and political machineries are the politicians. And they say it is not where you're standing that matters, but the direction you're taking. The direction DCP is taking is actually on the very wrong direction. If you see members of parliament, very strong supporters, are leaving your party to the opponent's party, just read the end of time. Personally, I think Gachagua is a great jeopardy to himself. When he came in as the savior of the opposition. But what has happened? He has killed the opposition completely. He's disarrayed the opposition, and he's even jeopardizing his own self. He started saying Jubilee is a wrong party, is a weak party, is a weak link. He started hitting Matiang'i, telling him the cases are very few, they cannot even support. And he doesn't learn. He actually came out of this government based on the shares thing. He's actually gone out again and started even hitting Matiang'i and saying he has very few people. He said Kalonzo cannot marshal anything. I actually said one point that he is the opposition voice, that when he keeps quiet, the opposition keep quiet. And the reason why of recent past, apart from those that are leaving DCP, the coalition partners that were nearly coalescing with him, the Martha Karuas, the Eugene Wamalwa, the Kalonzo Musyoka, the Matiang'is, the former Attorney General, they are all leaving him. Why? Because he's a jeopardy unto himself. He's jeopardizing not only his party, he's jeopardizing himself. And I think he's giving people reasons to know and to now understand why he was checked out of government. And for me, but this Gachagua is the greatest beneficiary for William Ruto in 2027. He's desperately doing a great donkey's work for William Ruto. If you talk about the 2027 elections now, you basically think William Ruto might not even have a candidate based on what Gachagua is doing on the opposition, including his own party. I saw Malala, and the explanation he had malaria or whatever, the sickness, the flu, whatever. That guy never wanted to go for the meeting in Mombasa. I think he was cajoled by some people to just come and keep face. You can really see the way he actually spoke. I was with Malala here in this studio some times ago. When he was exiting UDA as the Secretary General, I asked him questions. He could not answer. I saw the same kind of attitude in him the covering of face before he left UDA, it was very clear it was the end of him in UDA. I actually saw the way he was explaining today in Mombasa is the end of him in DCP.
Wow. Gakuya, let's consider the other style, let me call it that, that someone could be using, splitting the Mount Kenya voting bloc. Of course, there's a split between the East and the West, and now we are seeing an attempt, and we saw it was the end of last year, for Kiambu to actually leave what they call the Mount Kenya bloc. From what we are seeing from the MPs who are now leaving DCP, they're basically coming from Kiambu. Don't you think that that method, the divide and rule, is to some level succeeding?
In fact, Idimori, I have just explained to you earlier before, and I have just stated very clear, categorical, that politicians praise politics because of, one, their own interest. And let me tell you, as much as we have a serious number or a big number of supporters, or political supporters from Kiambu who are in the UDA party, this Idimuli does not give a justification that Kiambu is gone and Kiambu is UDA zone. This is totally, completely different two things. And I have just explained to you that you can have a troop of men who will be swept to the end. And we have what we call an experience of Mount Kenya region, where last election, those who are in Jubilee were all swept. And they were in the government, but they were all swept. And what happened? The whole Mount Kenya went yellow. And William took the mantle of the said region. Let me tell you, the determination is not politician, but the determination is where the people of Mount Kenya stand and where they will go to that particular time of election when it comes. And let me tell you, Uhuru Kenyatta was the sitting government, and he tried to sell in Mount Kenya one late Raila Odinga. It never worked. It never worked. Then he was one of them, and he was a man of mountain, and he persuaded them, and using the mass of money in Sagana, the same place where now William Ruto is using the same kind of money. I am telling you at the tail end, these are people who knows where to go at a particular time. So what I can say, there is no problem, because William Ruto is determined to be re-elected, and he will use all resources required and any other mechanism required to make two people back to his basket.
Then why are you finding it necessary to pursue a coalition pact with Uhuru ahead of 2027? Of what gain would that be at this point? If not Kiambu, or why?
But I can tell you, Uhuru has no any single mantle to decide where Kiambu will go. The people of Kiambu went to William Ruto and voted William Ruto entirely when the Uhuru was sitting president. So even come 2027, the determination of Uhuru Kiambu will be at the population of Kiambu. They will decide where to go. And let me tell you, not the force of resources, not the force of political forces that will make them change their mind. But I can tell you, they will not change their destiny because of goodies. Okay. At the tail end, they will stand where they believe that is the right position. And I can assure you, you are not new to this. Remember, when also Uhuru came to power, he took power from Kibaki. And also there before, there was a tag between Kibaki and Matiba. And all these politics can give you an indication where this particular region moves. But I can assure you today, it is not the force of politicians' call that will take the people of Mount Kenya to go their way.
I'm still not clear. Then why go for Uhuru? Why seek a coalition with Uhuru Kenyatta? Of what benefit would he be, if at all he cannot convince the mountain?
Uhuru, in fact, asking for unity or a coalition with Uhuru, it does not mean that Uhuru can move to Mount Kenya and fail to score anything. Last time he scored 13%. We need that 13%. Yes.
So it's partly because you need to block the Mount Kenya.
To consolidate.
To consolidate.
You need not to have a division. And therefore you need Uhuru to make it go still, even today. It does not mean Uhuru has no followers of a particular percentage. But the majority are not controlled by either sitting president nor the incoming. The determination is where are they deciding to go.
All right. Definitely, it looks like the attention will, in the near future, go back to the mountain to see who is a kingpin, if we may talk about kingpins. Do you think Uhuru Kenyatta will be a factor?
He still stands to be a factor in Kenyan politics, not just in the central region alone. And yes, he commands some following within the region. So you cannot just wish him away, because we all know we live in Kenya, why the central people never voted Baba in. It's not something that can be hidden from the public any longer, if anything that Martha Karua spoke about to go by. So I don't think if you can say that the mountain largely follows interest. And before they were voting against a particular individual. So anyone who was associated with Baba at that point, if it was not their candidate at the helm of leadership, then they would vote against you. So they vote against a particular agenda. So this is yet to be seen. Is the president giving them what they want? Then they will vote for him. And I'll tell you, the central people are largely business people. And if the policies that the government are putting across endears them, then they will vote him in. Not because they don't want Gachagua, but this speaks for them. Remember, even in this particular government, truth be told, half of the cabinet, almost nearly half, is from the same region. So if the half of the leadership of this current government or regime is from the mountain, they equally command a following. Are they going to abandon their leader to follow the regional politics? I don't think so. So it is an uphill task for Rigiji and his team to consolidate the mountain region. Remember, mountain region, unlike before, we now have the Meru, they are even speaking of Mount Kenya East, Mount Kenya West, who comes from what, who has what. And so it is really not easy for them to say, because we come from this mountain region, and because we have our own political party, so each and every one of us must follow this political party. But it is a matter of interest within the leadership, in the cabinet, the PSs who are there, who will actually go out to campaign for their leader, and that is the president himself. And there are also leaders who are still aligned to the president. So we cannot say that even they command even half of the region. If the by-elections are anything to go by. We are yet to see there's another by-election coming, and that will be a test for them as well. But I still believe UDA will take up the space, just because of the kind of investment that the president has put in the central region.
But Idemoni, do you think that Mount Kenya has benefited from Uhuru's empire? Do you think that is the answer? Do you think that handouts are anything to make Central happy and give you votes? Because you have arranged them for envelopes of 10,000? That is rubbish. And they are very much aware that this is a sweat. This is their tax, which has now converted and taken back to them. And they will take it home. But I can tell you, that is totally different from what will happen to the politics.
Will we have to wait till 2027 to know the reality on the ground? Because what other tests we've seen, the by-elections, the way they went, what other tests could come for us to actually gauge what's happening in the mountain before 2027?
In fact, if Ruto is serious enough, and I would request him, let one of his candidates from either Kiambu, Muranga, or Nyeri cross or give him to a particular position of a kind, and therefore create what we call an imposed by-election there.
But that was what I mean, Bere, what happened?
I mean, that's the same thing that happened in
forget about Bele.
Why do you go to?
That's part of the mountain.
I have not talked about Bele. I have not talked about Meru. I have talked about those three regions.
So it basically means it's no longer Mount Kenya. It is now shrinking.
And that's what I was telling you, Fred.
Is it not surprising that you're now shrinking?
But Lotte, you actually work with these members of parliament, allied to both sides. And what is the general sentiment by those elected Mount Kenya leaders who support William Ruto? Especially from those counties is mentioned, Muranga because they are there, even Nyeri.
First of all, I'll not say what they say, but I think it's important that we now look at the broader perspective of Mount Kenya, because we know Mount Kenya includes the region that is now trying to say do not belong to Mount Kenya. And that is, even for me, should be worrying him more, because Gachagua talks about the mountain, he doesn't talk about the region of Murang'a, Nyeri, and the three. So it basically means now, because the war has increased on these other sides, he has left them. So he's actually now trying to pull himself to the region that he believes is his. But surprisingly, this is the region. Nyeri should be the center of it. And that's why William Ruto had 15,000 delegates. Yeah. It basically tells you there is nowhere where Gachagua can run again. For me, if I was standing with Bazoo here, I would definitely say I will also still claim Meru. I will still claim the other regions that he's trying to run away from. Because if he does not claim those regions definitely will go back to William Ruto. To your question, the members of parliament that are actually allied to UDA, and you see they are now increasing, including Koimburi, who has been abducting himself to just make Gachagua relevant. They are now trooping back to William Ruto because the strength of William Ruto in Mount Kenya is increasing. There's a time William Ruto will not go to Mount Kenya after the Gachagua impeachment. But now William Ruto probably even enjoys. He goes to Mount Kenya when Gachagua goes to the coast. It basically tells you William Ruto is gaining a foothold in Mount Kenya. The members of parliament from this region at some time were very afraid because they actually knew Gachagua was the de facto leader that will identify and pinpoint on who will become the member of parliament. But that is now waning out. There were Maua, who was a very strong supporter of Gachagua, is now gone back. There were Mushombas, they are going back. The Koimburis are going back. The Karembas are going back. Why? It is basically telling you they have realized the person that they were following is losing track, seriously. And now they are even leaving the Merus and the likes. It basically means they are now squeezing themselves, and soon they will squeeze themselves to Nyeri town, leave alone Nyeri County.
Right.
That's another position. And I have not said that is putting words on my mouth. I have not said that we have no interest in Mount Kenya entire. But I have just mentioned areas that cannot be touched. But there are those other zones which are weak. Because remember, we have a deputy president who is coming from that east, who has also influence. And I can tell you, you cannot stand to ignore that there is such a man on that particular. And therefore, his influence can create some element of change. But this does not mean Meru have decamped. This does not mean Embu have decamped. This does not mean Kirinyaga have decamped. They are still firm. But there are areas where you can have maybe 40, 50 of a kind. But there are areas that are intact, that are untouchable.
All right. There's also the spillover effect into Nairobi, because whatever happens in Mount Kenya region comes to Nairobi as well. Has that been affected in any way, this kind of scramble for the Mount Kenya vote?
In fact, Idimori, what I would like to tell Kenyans is that there will be what you call an effort to split this region. And it will be a vigorous effort which will come to fail. And I can tell you, take this to bank. Come 2027, we will meet here after the election. But 85% of Central will be intact. I cannot stand to say it will be 100%, but 85% of Central votes will be one and united. There can be 15% which can be splitted elsewhere, but 85 will carry the day.
All right. Wow, Mount Kenya politics, also a big discussion. The DCP party is now pursuing a coalition pact with Uhuru Kenyatta for 2027 polls. And on page 7 of the Daily Nation, there's a big headline here. They say Gachagua, is he the united opposition's unifying figure or a bull in a Chinese shop? Well, those are just the headlines. I want us to move on to another thing, and this is what partly took President William Ruto earlier this year to Nyeri town, and that's the NYOTA fund. A lot of criticism has gone his way. Many people are saying he has already officially kicked off campaigns for 2027 polls. The horse has already bolted and everyone else is trying to play catch up. We do have that story of the president telling off critics of the NYOTA fund. Let's have it.
Ni leo si leo. Ni leo si leo. President William Ruto says his administration is committed to avoiding short-term politics and instead investing in sustainable programs that will transform the lives of Kenyans, especially the youth.
Kanairo hoye! For a very long time, everything we do is about politics and about the next election. And that is why we never succeed. This time round, we are running programs that are not about politics, that are not about the next election.
Speaking at the Kasarani Sports Complex during the disbursement of Kenya shillings 258.4 million under the NYOTA program, the president stated that the initiative is not linked to politics or political parties.
Tumeweka hii program deliberately, intentionally, so that we can reach young people who are disadvantaged, young people who may not have gotten another opportunity, young people who may not have any skill, young people who may not have as much education as they may have wanted.
The head of state said NYOTA aims to empower young people economically and change their future prospects. The NYOTA event brought together more than 10,000 youth from Nairobi, Kajiado and Kiambu counties. According to the president, the NYOTA program targets more than 820,000 youth across the country, with each ward set to benefit at least 70 youth through business startup capital of about 50,000 Kenya shillings. On education, the president said the government is investing nearly 30% of its budget to ensure young people acquire the knowledge and skills required in the job market. On employment, he cited affordable housing projects, digital jobs and overseas employment opportunities as key solutions to unemployment.
Leo si leo.
The president also stressed the importance of safe overseas employment, noting that the government has strengthened labor export programs through the National Employment Authority.
Vijana nusu 530,000 wameenda nje ya Kenya kufanya kazi, wananiuliza wako wapi.
President Ruto called on leaders to refrain from misleading the youth politically and instead support them in building their economic future.
The NYOTA Fund program, the president says it is not about the next election, but it very much looks like the campaigns, and or at least it looks a bit too convenient for the president. It is 19 months to the elections. We cannot ignore that fact, Rachel.
Yes.
Don't you think that this is just a way of campaigning, and President William Ruto giving 50,000 shillings to 800,000 youth is a perfect way to kickstart your campaigns?
You know, the president is a politician. So he could as well be using this to popularize himself and also endear the youths who are a sizable voting bloc, hoping that they've taken up and they've registered as voters. But I want to look at it differently also, that the NYOTA initiative is there to help the young people if properly utilized. Leave alone the politics aside. He could be using this to popularize himself, and it is timely, because I don't want you to forget that I just helped you to yesterday, you know. But then if looking at the targeted group of the youth, remember they're looking for people who've not gone to school. So my advice to the team advising the president, this is a very good initiative. I'm not sure whether it is skill-based. They say they're training them prior, which is a good thing. But remember, we have the TVETs. I wish the focus would have been in TVETs for the artisanry work, so that these young people move from artisanry to certificate to diploma, and eventually even become specialized in particular area. With that kind of focus at artisanry, if you give them the money, because this is a very short course that they're taken through, I think it's a month or less than a month. Then they're given the money now to invest. But if you're taken through a proper training, then you pick that as your profession. Then whatever amount of money you are given, let me say like you want to start a salon, or you want to start selling maize by the roadside, or whatever, because the kind of money that they're given as capital, as seed capital, it is a good amount of money depending on the kind of business that you would want to use it for. But can we give them the proper training, empower them well, so that this does also not just fall like the hustler fund, where they are given money and there's no proper accountability within these youths and all that kind of stuff. And then the money is just misappropriated or misused by the youth. So my advice would be, yes, it is a good capital, depending on where one is, depending on your situation, depending on what do you want to do with the money. Because that 20,000 shillings can start up a kiosk which can eventually be a supermarket. Mm-hmm. That 20,000 can start a small retail shop that eventually become a wholesaling shop. So depending on what one would want to use it for. But my advice would be, can these young people, instead of putting them together like that, can they go to a TVET for proper training?
Yes.
We have TVETs and the government is offering TVET training almost for free. Why can't they be taken to TVETs, get proper training, so that when you get outside there and your certificate, then at that point of graduation, then the government supports you to start something.
All right.
You are getting out and more empowered, both financially, and you have the requisite knowledge to run whatever business that one would want to run.
Yes.
So mine would be looking at it in that way.
Yes, because Bwana Lote, definitely there's a difference between, and it's clear as Rachel puts it, the difference between economic empowerment and political tokenism is simply the knowledge gap. That yes, for me to empower you with that amount, I should take you through some proper training. The other one is I just give you money to make you happy and call it empowerment.
Well, 3 reasons why this is not political. One, in the manifesto of the Kenya Kwanza, which then forms the UDA and the presidency now, they actually talked about uplifting the people at the bottom. Actually, the kind of people that receive 50,000 shillings from the government to start a business is actually uplifting people at the bottom. 2, it is not the people, all the people that are given this money, all of them will not vote for William Ruto. And I have not seen William Ruto asking them for votes. He just said it is important that we give them money. So I will vote. I'll actually say if elections come, not everybody that receives this money will vote for William Ruto. So it is not political. He has not given them to entice them. He's given them so that they can start a business. And we know that some of the greatest businesses that we've got now in the world actually started from an idea and a small income and a small capital, such as this. We know of people who have started from the streets and finally they became multi-million enterprises. So we cannot say that it's political. And the third reason why it's not political is that every region in this country receives this funding and that the beneficiaries are not vetted by anybody. You apply online and you're picked online. And so basically, I really do not want it to be put together with politics. If it was something that, an idea that came recently, I'll then probably think William Ruto is using it.
Don't you think that if it was not politics or linked to the campaigns, that it would not necessitate the president to go out everywhere to be dishing out this? That can be done by other senior government officials from the ministry? But
we've got a president that actually is more vibrant. He's not a president that sits in the State House like many others. We have seen William Ruto not only on this, including on small matters such as launching a housing project. So it is his nature. So let us not vilify him for that, because it is his nature to ensure that he sees through activities. And to be true, he said even to his cabinets that he has more knowledge of many things. And he believes actually in many things than many of these people. So the fact that he goes out to launch this basically tells you that it was his manifesto, he believed in it, and he wants to empower the young people. And to add to what Rachel has said here, there's a lot of TVETs training that have taken place, and there are a lot of Kenyans that have actually gone through this. And when they come out of these colleges, they got no money to start. And most of them will tell you, they will talk to me, they will talk to any member of parliament, including her, please support me with a toolbox so that I can start my business. Please support me with a cookery so that I can start my small hotel. And this is exactly what this money is doing.
Shouldn't those such people be the direct beneficiaries of such a program and not this random selection of other people? People who have actually gone through proper training.
Of course, many Kenyans. I actually had one of the Tanzanian preachers who came to my church and he said, just being in Kenya is equal to being in Form 6 in Tanzania. Kenya, by itself, is a training ground. Any Kenyan given money can be able to transform. Even Trump said it in the US. He said Kenyans are enterprising. When they go to the US, they don't depend on the social services. They actually be able to live by themselves. When Africans were being de-whipped from the US, Kenya was not be part of those that are supposed to deposit a security before they go to the US, because the US people have even seen Kenyans are enterprising. So we do not really need much training to start selling mayai on the streets. We just need to be a Kenyan, because the environment itself is a university by itself. So if all those people that have been given money, those that have even gone to the university might not be able to pick up like those that have just been taught by the streets how to survive. So for me, I think William Ruto is casting the net wide so that Kenyans that are enterprising will pick up and come out. And I believe 10 years after this, there are Kenyans that are going to give a testimony of how this money has been able to transform them. Of course, there are others that will definitely have lost this money.
Okay. Bwana Gakuya, you have a special position because when this idea was mooted, you are the chair, Trade Committee in the National Assembly. You understand this program and what it was intended for. Now it comes very close to an election. The kind of rollout you see, was this the intention or is this more of a campaign tool?
Number one, in Demuri, let us all agree that we have like 70% of our youth jobless. And what we are doing as a country is to look for jobs outside this country through their skills. I think what we are not doing locally is to look for mechanisms of Singapore direction. We must also ask ourselves, what made Singapore to be how it is? What made those other developed countries to be where they are? It's trusting themselves and making sure that they use their resources prudently to make sure that they build empire within themselves. This is what we are not doing in our country. And let me tell you, even though we are using this particular method of dishing out this money, well and good, because few will benefit out of this. But is it not a drop in the ocean compared vis-a-vis the jobless youths? What are you going to do with the rest? I think the best idea for a nation that is intending deliberately to rescue youth from poverty is one, to build a startup fund. That startup fund, you don't require free money. You need to look for, because there is a very big space for business. There's 30% in the government and all counties where youth have been chanced to do business. But you know what? The banks in our country has no trust again with what we call award debtors. Those award debtors, if the youth could be having, the government could have built what we call trust with the banks. And banks buy the idea of these award debtors. Our youth, you can rescue them. Because any youth that can get a job or a project can move to a bank using that award debtor, getting money to start up to move to business. This is the conducive environment that the government should fight for, so that you can be able to create an environment for everybody. But if you create an environment for few number, what about the rest? What are we going to do with them? I think that the government should make a deliberate move to make sure that they secure the route to move out the youth from poverty. There is a bill that the House passed of the startup bill. That startup bill is purely to make sure that our people who are skilled to business can be able to access business using this money. And this money is not for free.
Was that the original idea?
That was the original idea. That this money was to be startup money. But it's not fairly money to dish out in the manner that is being used.
Okay.
This I can tell you for sure. At the tail end, it will earn some mileage, some political mileage, but to ease the poverty from youth. Today I have seen a lot of complaint where this also money is being dispersed in portions. Some are saying we have already gotten 28,000, 22,000 are missing. So we also need, as much as we want to make the youth grow, give them that particular duano that they can be able to fish directly. and all of them have an opportunity to do so. But if you get selective number, if one thing, if this hustle fund was something to do to ease problems within our youth and SMEs, we could make it on a way that they are cluster of various, that you cannot compare a business or a skilled person who want to start a business of 5,000 and what he can only get is 500. That is a drop in the ocean. You can't go anywhere. Therefore, make mechanisms that can provide future way of managing the economic way of these SMEs, these young people. But 50,000, that's okay, it's a good money. But most of them are not yet trained. Most of this money will go to the share.
Yeah. And you've seen a lot of waste even with the Hustler Fund. They said that the repayment levels were about below 60%, or the default rate was actually above 60%. Yeah. There's no level of accountability once you dish out this money this way. It could just as well be campaign tokens, whether they start businesses or not. Yet it's taxpayers' money and we have to repay this loan to the World Bank. Don't you agree that, okay, fine, probably it needed a little more thought, some better structure, as Bwana Gakuya says?
I tend to agree with that. Why? Because there has to be a mechanism on evaluating the impact, let's say of a Hustler Fund. So if Hustler Fund did well, then how then do we enhance Hustler Fund? For example, instead of starting a new program called NYOTA Fund, then how then do we enhance Hustler Fund to reach more youths than it probably did if the target were the youths? But Hustler Fund, I think, was just open to each and every one of us. But again, there has to be proper structures to monitor the impact and the progress of some of these initiatives. If they're not anchored in any proper policy framework, then we tend to see what we have seen with Hustler Fund, where you cannot attribute the impact of Hustler Fund to anything, and yet we've seen billions and billions of shillings channeled through that particular program. So this one, as the president continues to empower the youth financially, which is equally a good thing, but let us have proper structures so that it's not wasted money.
Okay.
It's not wasted money. Whether it is taxpayers, it was a grant, or otherwise, we don't need to waste money in the name of just giving it out to 16,000 or 30,000 or 1 million youths, and then we don't see a proper impact on it. It would be something so sad to see a year later checking how impactful the initiative was, and then you see maybe only 5,000 out of 5 million youths really have done something substantial with it. It is not a matter of only we are changing one life, but then can we use this channel to empower youth the right way? That's why I keep repeating that we need to take our youths for TVETs. There are artisanry programs within these TVETs. Just take them for proper training. Let them learn from those TVETs. Once they go there, then we can have a program where the graduates then are being given financial assistance to do what? To start up. For those who want to start a business. Again, not everyone is business-minded. Not everyone has the business acumen. So you cannot say that we are going to give everyone because you can start something. Not true. Yeah. So we need to focus on who is interested in doing what, and can we probably have a data of all the youths whom have we given or within the TVET sector, even those who have graduated with diploma, because they're even at a better advantage of starting up businesses than those people, as you say, you are not working, you are above 18, so let's give you money to start up something.
This money is from the World Bank. It's not a grant. It's a 5 billion shilling credit line, and we have to pay it back. But it would appear it's down to the president to dish it out without proper structures. This went through the National Assembly as well. Don't you think the National Assembly there probably just handed the president a campaign tool?
First of all, the National Assembly is considered to be an assembly made up of members from both parts of the political party. And every committee, including this committee that passed this bill, is a committee that is composed of everybody. And so they considered it very carefully. Two, Fred, I think we talk about structured way of disbursing funding, structured ways of doing this. But how many of our incidences have we actually seen that even within the structured way of doing things, we've failed as a nation? We talk about our path to Singapore. And we say that we were with Singapore some times ago in terms of levels of development, but that Singapore, because of its policies, went ahead. And yet, from the time when Singapore was moving, we had the structured ways of doing things. And the structured ways of doing things have never proven that we can be able to move. So sometimes to be innovative as we are now, to be able to try to give credit to our youths, to try their luck into businesses, it could pay off. So let us not say that we're thrown money to people to entice them, so that the money is in the economy.
Okay.
The money, you remember, after the failed elections of the repeated elections of 2013, we had what we call what fund was that? There is a state fund that is running up to now. Monies that were supposed to be used for elections.
We had the youth fund.
There's the youth fund. There's the other Weather Fund. Weather Fund. There are people right now that can give you testimonies of how much they have been able to utilize the Weather Fund and actually grow in their businesses. And even up to now, there are people who are applying for Weather Fund and they are repaying. At the time when we were giving out the Weather Fund, I know there was a lot of noise just like this one. Like we are throwing monies into Kenyans without thinking. It was money that was meant for election. And many years after, Weather Fund is running. Weather Fund is empowering people. And so for me, I'll say we have tried every other structured way of giving out money, and some of it has failed. Why don't we try to ensure that our youth that could have very bright ideas of businesses could probably, and the reason why many of the European countries become innovative is because they got what we call the venture capital. They have money that they can just use to try, to just try. They're given money to try. And based on those trials, they've actually seen them innovating and actually bring up things like Google, like YouTube, like that is actually making money. So this money for us is thus like that venture capital money where they're given, please try your luck on business. And this trial will bring out millionaires. Of course, there are those that will not be able to repay, but there are those that will definitely benefit out of it that become millionaires in future.
All right. 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Allow me just to give you each 2 minutes now for your final comments, and you can choose whichever way to go. Let's start with you, Rachel.
I wanted to ask something, since they are privileged to sit in UDA, just a quick one. How much or what would it take the government to merge these funds and have it more structured and more targeted and more impactful?
All right. They'll get to answer probably as they make their final comments. Are you ready for your final comment, or we go with Bwana Gakuya? Final comments.
Thank you, Dimuli. Let me see. One, for good planning, because you build your empire by proper planning and prudent use of resources. I don't think that it is anywhere fair to borrow, because this money is a borrowed money from World Bank, which will be paid by taxpayers. And you don't want to use any structured way of recovery of this money. Therefore, it means that money has gone for free. But you have given Kenya's burden to pay back to World Bank using their taxes. It is not a proper planning. And I will repeat that. You should not use a mechanism of free gifts. Allow people to have structured way of earning their businesses or building the economy, where they can borrow at a very low percentage, very low interest. But let them be active. They borrow and they pay back. You better lose little, that out of maybe 100%, there can be 30% and recovered, but you recover 70%. That way, you are moving forward. But it's wrong to use this kind of mechanism, and you are trying to tell us that you want to make people out of poverty. A free donations can get waste, but anything sweat that somebody feels that he needs to work it and work it perfectly and build an empire going forward. We have not made any mechanism even to make a research on how do you give these people.
Okay.
Why do we give you? We have just used an electronic kind of application, which you only check what somebody qualifies to do. But you have not done any test, any you have that kind of route to give out things on this kind of route. It is a poor management.
All right. Rachel, you go next.
Thank you. Just two things. One, on education. I'm pleading with the leaders of this country that they really put a lot of focus on our children's education. It is not right and that unfair that we see the kind of pain that parents are going through and students are going through after performing very well in schools, and yet focus is not even on the children who performed well. You see a child who is going to Alliance, and that I don't know whether he was from Embakasi North.
We have assisted him.
You've assisted him, but you don't have to wait until it is in such state, then you come out, because not everyone can reach the media houses. So I want to believe that there should be a structured way through which these members of parliament particularly can know how many students performed, in how many schools do we have, and are these children able to transit to the next level of education? Seeing the kind of things we are seeing on television is really saddening as a nation that wants to go to Singapore. And you don't want to empower your children so that they partake of Singapore tomorrow. Right. Because then what will you leave for the children of this nation? So focus should really be put in education sector, so that first the system is in place. We are seeing schools without even students, and no one talks about them. And the leaders in those areas are just okay talking on media houses about that. And secondly, the unity of our party, ODM. I'm imploring on each and everyone, let us support the leadership. Let us ask ourselves, and everyone is saying, what would Baba do at this point? Baba would have told you, if someone is in leadership, give them the respect that they deserve. Support them in that leadership until your time comes that you're able to lead. So let us support the leadership which is there, even as we push for any other reform that we would want within the party.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Finally, Bwana Lute.
Thank you very well. I think personally, I'm happy that the youth's getting funding to try into businesses, and for anybody who is against this should try and face the youth and tell them it is not right for them to get the funding, that the funding needs to go to the people that we know that are for decades not being able to prudently utilize this. I think it is important that let the youth also are given a chance to be able to try businesses that they would have not tried otherwise because of the little capital. It is little, but we know of Mamambogas, chamas that actually borrow 1,000 shillings a day, and they have been able to move families because of that. The last one is, I think the political debacle this year, we only going to elections next year. What Gachagua is doing is very good for William Ruto, and is actually making a clear path for William Ruto to win in 2027. Mm-hmm. The opposition is in disarray, and if they continue like this, I think we are not going to have an opposition candidate come next year.
Why don't you think there'll be an opposition candidate?
Because they're fighting each other. If you start imploding from within, you're giving a proper pathway to the incumbent, because the incumbent has got a lot of foothold on many of the things instead, based on the fact that they are incumbent. If you are not organized, if you are fighting within yourself, if you're letting members run away from you instead of coming to you, you're basically creating a super highway for the incumbent to win. Mm-hmm. And the William Ruto that we know is a political supremo. Mm-hmm. If he gets this kind of a penalty, he will definitely score. He will not miss.
I don't know if Bwana Gachagua would want to respond to that.
But I can tell you, my good friend, mm-hmm. that we are not, as much as William is a supremo in politics, I don't think we are also naive politically. And do not think that the lion is dead when you find it sleeping over a particular lane or a ninja. And therefore, you might try to think that Gachagua is moving to the wrong direction. But I can tell you, at the tail end, Gachagua will also make the same opposition to unite. And I can tell you, whether you think that that's a window for William Ruto to grab it, you lose it.
All right.
He needs to start having a uniting tank, not a dividing tank.
All right. Yeah, by the way, I read this headline here. And yes, Gachagua, is he the united opposition's unifying figure or a bull in a Chinese shop? So there's that perception in the dailies. Yes, and that story about a candidate, is there on page 3. Help me raise funds to take up my sport at Alliance High School. And this young boy is called John Mwalili. He's apparently scavenging for plastic bottles at Kware dumping site for a week. He has been doing that. And he has only this venture has only yielded about 300 shillings. But Bwana Gakuya, you say he has since received
we have sorted one from Wango Primary. And actually she enrolled yesterday.
Okay.
To school.
All right. Yeah. But such cases are indeed quite a number. And on the same page, Chief clears orphans to beg for school fees. This is a very sad story.
And remember what I can add to that. Because we have a kitty for that particular concern. People who have this kind of need should move to the CDF offices, because that is the center of application of any need, and that is where they should move. Because in Nairobi, we're in a very small village where you can always walk a distance. It's not anywhere that you're moving 50 kilometers away. It's a walking distance. The office is the center of the constituency.
Yes.
Kindly please move there. If you think that you are out, you are there, and you are a needy person, move to the office, you'll be assisted.
Right. And again, just allow me to weigh into this education thing. One, I don't think if it is also right for members of parliament or the governors or these people dishing out these bursaries, that a child needs to reapply each and every year. If a child was orphaned last year, clearly, Fred, that child is still orphaned. Now, unless something really happens and they get a sponsor, their condition is basically the same. So this idea of lining up people to apply for bursaries is just lack of proper mechanism on how do you manage bursaries. And secondly, I think, Akuya, you can take this up, or my friend Titus, you can take this up into Bunge and ensure that why can't we offer free secondary school education? Why can't we put all these bursaries together, from the ministry, from the presidential kitty, from members of parliament, the women rep, ward reps, and all these reps, so that our children can access education. Fairness and equity is one of the key tenets of governance,
yes,
and that they should look at.
It's a very sad story here.
This is what we call a ruling government policy. If the government wants this particular fund all to be collated together, it is very easy and possible. And therefore, the government should initiate a process toward that direction. Because for sure, Kibaki only said it will be free primary education. And up to date, it is there. Why can't the government declare secondary school free?
Okay.
Yeah. And also, I would also to add one thing. As much as people like Dede Nyoro want to believe that a student can pay 500 shillings, they should also understand we are not from the same dynamic. I am in schools that are over 40,000 needy students. He operates with 10,000. And he's only dealing with what we call day schools. Day schools. I also deal with what we call day schools and the other secondary accommodated school. And let me tell you, my students, I support even those who are learning out of my constituency. Because they come from my constituency. I don't deal with only those schools in my constituency. 70% of the beneficiaries are not within Embakasi North. They are outside. But they come from Embakasi. So I support them even when they are schooling from outside schools.
All right. Bwana Lote, I'm sure you'd want to venture into this story as well. CDF has come into sharp focus with what's happening there, and many people believe that it should do more. There's a story here on page 3, a very sad story. This is a striking sign of desperation. A chief in Tarbo was in Gishu County has officially sanctioned a family of 7 orphans to beg for school fees so that one of them can join senior school. Definitely something that an MP through the CDF kitty can attend to?
Yeah, well, I think those sad facts are littered across this country. And as a member of parliament, you might not be able to know all the orphans or all the needy students within your constituency. There is a process of getting bursary, and that process is not only for the member of parliament, it's also for the member of the county assembly, it's also for the national government, and also for some other sponsors. So if this kind of headline comes through, it basically means that as a society, we do not have a very good structure of knowing where the problem, where the needy are. But then when such comes up, it will now be the member of parliament to pick it up, the member of the community to pick it up, the local church to pick it up, the sponsors, we've got Equity, we've got all other sponsors to pick it up, the national government to pick it up. So it is not just an individual, but it's a societal problem. So for one, we cannot entirely blame the Member of Parliament for such, because you might not be able to know all. But then when it is known, that is when we can start saying, what have they done after they have known?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, matters education given a lot of prominence. Financial struggles block thousands of top learners from grade 10 admission. It's also on page 3 of the Standard. And a very interesting one here, page 2. Shame of Sirisia School, which has no head teacher and dilapidated facilities. That is on page 2 of the Standard. So the situation in schools and what the CDF has done in others still getting a lot of discussion. I think we should create time and discuss that. CDF and what it's doing for education. Anyway, thank you so much, Titus Lote, MP Kacheliba, Rachel Omolo, who's a public policy and governance expert, and James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North, our panelists this morning. And thank you for the vibrant debate in looking at some of the big things, big headlines that we've talked about. The scramble for the Mount Kenya region, the implosion within ODM, matters education, and has the president officially started his campaign, and is he using the NYOTA fund as a campaign tool? Once again, the Standard, GOtv, ESCC, and NYS, they're calling this NYS 3 scandal. The front page of the Daily Nation, executive impunity, senior government officials simply ignoring orders of courts. The Star has gone with an analysis of what President Ruto might be doing in Western Kenya. Ruto's three-pronged strategy to bag Luhya votes, and Kenyan investors allotted 60% of the Kenya Pipeline Company shares on sale. That's on the front page of the Business Daily. Just before we leave you, a quick reminder that TV47 has now partnered with Kalakoda Promotions in a 1 billion shilling multi-year deal. Together with renowned international broadcaster Ade Oladipo, is now on board. And this is to deliver Friday fight nights across 2026 and monthly events from 2027. Now, this will start on the 27th of February this year, and this will position TV47 as the home of consistent, world-class boxing content. Something to look forward to. My name is Fred Indemuli. Have a lovely morning.